Hey, what's up guys, this is Babez, and we're doing another NBA 2K13 My Team episode, but this time, instead of showing you some gameplay with my team, we are actually going to do some pack openings, because that's what I said I was going to do before, and, you know, that's what we're going to do. I have a couple of things I want to talk about. It's free agency has started in around the NBA, and the draft already happened, so I'd like to talk about that. Some of the big slip-ups that are really kind of mind-blowing is how Cody Zeller got reached for in the NBA draft. I thought the Bobcats really kind of reached for him. It's crazy to think that they took him over Nerlens Noel, but with Nerlens injuries and all, it does sort of make sense, because I really wanted a team to go out and reach on Cody Zeller. He was before projected to be, you know, a higher draft pick, but then he kind of had a down year, and Nerlens Noel passed him, but then Noel also got injured, the ACL injury, so he dropped in the draft, which is also very surprising, and he dropped to the Pelicans, and they actually traded him, and they got Drew Holiday from the 76ers, with Noel going to Philadelphia, which is also very crazy. The Pelicans are really stocking up for this next year. I wouldn't say they're a contender for the championship, but they're definitely up there for teams to look out for. Another draft slip up is Ben McLemore going to the Sacramento Kings. That's a great pickup for the Kings, getting a shooter like him who's really compared to some of the greatest shooters in the NBA. I've heard talks about being compared to Ray Allen, and that's crazy to hear, but he is a lights out shooter, and hopefully he succeeds this next year and shows the teams ahead of him that passed on him why they shouldn't have. Tyreke Evans slipping or going to the Pelicans in the free agency was also crazy, because the Pelicans came out of nowhere. They're just this terrible team. Then they picked up Anthony Davis in the draft, and now adding Drew Holiday and Tyreke to the squad. They're gonna be a contender for the Western side, but I don't think they're gonna get too far. Trey Burke also, as a Timberwolves fan, I was really excited to see us take Trey Burke, and I wanted to see that happen, but then we ended up trading him, and I was so angry when I saw that, because, you know, everything was going the way I wanted it to. We had some players fall in the draft, and that's what we wanted at the number 9 selection, and then we traded Burke at the 9 spot straight up for a 14 and a 21, which doesn't make sense to me, because we ended up taking Babez at 14, who if we wanted to, we could have got 9, and we already had the 26th overall pick in the draft. But then we took Jang from Louisville at 21, and we could have gotten him at 26. So, I mean, that was just a bad move. All we got for that 26 is money and a second rounder in the future, and nobody wants those second rounders. Second rounders very rarely turn out. Most likely that second round is just gonna turn into some random European that will have sit, kind of like sort of like we did with Nikola Pekovic, who actually paid out, and he's been great, so I guess I can't complain too much. Dwight Howard going to the Rockets was kind of where I figured he would end up, but that's gonna be a good team. Another really a championship contender now. Dwight Howard and James Harden together is really going to be lethal in my opinion. The one thing that is kind of risky for Houston is I saw a stat on ESPN saying that they took, I think 4% of their shots were from the post all of last season, and that's crazy because that's Dwight Howard's game, and I guess they do have a great post coach, so it does make sense for them to get a big man that just plays the down low game. Dwight Howard's really all post and all dunking. He's great defensively, but that should end up working out for the Rockets. The next guy was Paul Millsap going to Atlanta. That's really just a fill-in for Josh Smith, because I mean, let's face it, the Hawks were most likely not going to get Smith back, and they wanted, I don't know what they were thinking with Millsap. They're not a contender. They're just not that great of a team. They might make playoffs with him, but they're not. They didn't get better this year. They lost Devin Harris from the sounds of it, and they haven't done any better. But I guess he's just a fill-in. OJ Mayo going to the Bucks. Should be kind of exciting for Bucks fans, but also should be a little bit degrading because that seems like it's a sign that they're not going to get Monte Ellis back, which, to be honest, is probably a good thing for them because he's going to be a lot of money, and who wants a player that just shoots a lot of shots on a team where you already have a developing point guard that's really just a scorer? So, I mean, OJ Mayo makes sense because he can spot up shoot, unlike Ellis can. Ellis really can't do much from 3, but OJ Mayo is lethal from behind the arc. Andre Iguodala going to the Warriors. I thought that with Iguodala going to the Warriors, it was really gonna I thought they were just making a push to try and get Dwight Howard in Golden State, because they also they had a great trade for both teams really when they traded away Biedrins and Richard Jefferson, and they also traded 2 first-rounders to the Utah Jazz, really just to free up space. They weren't gonna get anything out of Biedrins and Jeffersons besides like amnestying them. They couldn't do much. And I think they already used an amnesty actually, so they weren't even eligible for one. But the Jazz got an absolute steal with that if those first rounders end up being something, because I mean they're rebuilding anyways, so it's not gonna hurt them taking 2 high salary players. If anything, it's just gonna bring their fan base down a little bit. But I mean, they weren't gonna contend this year anyways. So it was a smart move by Utah to get those 2 first rounders and Biedrins and Jefferson, which they're just going to get rid of in a year because they were a combined $20 million this next year, and they're really just going to shop him away as soon as they can. Just going to send those 2 off to the free agents. There was a trade involving Eric Bledsoe. It was a 3-team trade where the Suns got Bledsoe and Caron Butler from the Clippers, and the Clippers get Jared Dudley and JJ Redick. And the Bucks just get some old breadcrumbs. They really didn't get much. That's kind of frustrating if you're a Bucks fan, but they realistically didn't have a chance for Redick anyways, so it sort of made sense just to free up some room. They probably are gonna get a draft pick out of there, so they're not too bad in that trade. They really just got rid of him for nothing. But the Suns, I thought, came out on top on that trade by getting Bledsoe and really giving up very little and only giving up Jared Dudley. For them, it was basically Dudley for Bledsoe. I think that it would only make sense if they had that. This is all I'm seeing that the trade was, but it would only make sense. I don't think it's been finalized, but it would only make sense, like I was saying, if they got, or the the Suns gave up a little bit more, and I'm guessing that that's gonna go to the Bucks, like maybe a first rounder or something, because otherwise they're getting an absolute steal out of Bledsoe for Dudley, just straight up. And the Minnesota Timberwolves get Kevin Martin, and I, once again, as a Timberwolves fan, I'm so excited to see this. The guy doesn't play too much defense, but what can I say? He's one of the best shooters from behind the arc, and that's very exciting to see, because that's what we need. We needed shooters. We got Budinger back. Hopefully we can get Pekovic back, and Kevin Martin comes along the way, and that's what Kevin Love wanted. He said he wanted shooters, and we gave it to him. We got shooters now. Maybe, just maybe, we can make a run. Probably not anything title or too big, but we'll definitely be a playoff contender this year. The new contenders in the West are definitely the Pelicans, the Rockets, and the Timberwolves. And the Lakers are probably going to fall off out of the playoff picture after losing Dwight Howard for basically nothing. They might get something out of the trade, or they might get something out of it from the Rockets, but from the sounds of it, they just got shopped really. They're not going to get too much at all. So far, I've had some good players that I've acquired in these pack openings. Sorry, I haven't really been talking about them. If you've been watching closely, you should have seen that I've gotten, I think, World B. Free, Del Curry, Larry Nance, Sam Perkins, and Kendall Gill. Those are the main players that I'm actually gonna keep in this draft, because let's be honest, all those other players, those bronze players that I'm getting, I do enjoy having them, and it's kind of cool that I'm getting some legends, but they're not great, and the only reason I'm really gonna keep them is because their salary is so low, or it's nothing, so I don't have to pay too much for them. I have actually played some games. I haven't recorded any yet with this new team, but I have played some games with some of these players, and I can honestly say that Del Curry was for sure the best player to come out of this this pack that I'm getting. I used probably about 70,000 virtual coins out of the whole deal, but I didn't really, I wouldn't say I didn't want the coins, but I'm making a new My Player, and I didn't want to have the access to the coins so that I could just cheese and make my guy really good right off the bat. So it's actually kind of a good thing that happened. You guys were just seeing my my new lineups and the uniforms I'm selecting with Coach Doc Rivers. I also got a lot of cool uniforms. You should have seen. It seems that the way to go on these packs are the purple packs, because the gold ones are nice and all, but to be honest, it's just a waste of time of just unless you really want uniforms and stuff like that, you're really not going to get a great player from watching this fold out. You're not going to get the greatest player from these gold packs. I've gotten a couple decent that I sold for a decent amount of money, but it seems as if my luck just ran out and you're not going to get too many good players. But I guess there's always that chance that you could get a decent player. But from my side, my end of the story, it seems like the gold or the purple packs are the way to go. You see, I just won my second seed game, and here's the pack opening, and boom, I get Magic Johnson. He's kind of the man. I'm very excited to use him in the near future, adding on to Larry Bird and the bunch. Thank you guys for watching this video. I really appreciate if you subscribe and like the video. Thanks, guys.